What is up, my dudes? This is Trent with the Fantasy Football Dudes podcast. Today I have my early Week 7 waiver wire ads. I will have more waivers on X at TFF Dudes. Go check us out there. On Tuesday, I will have my favorite waiver wire ads for the week. I'll have streams, all that good stuff. It'll be a little bit more in-depth. So go over to X, hit that bookmark. You know, you can have that nice little digital tweet right there in your pocket when you're in bed late Tuesday night and you're going, man, I should check the waiver wire. I haven't done that today, or I have done it, but let me double check. Let me see what the dudes thought. Go head over to X. You have it all right there, guys. Helps real nice. Got it right there. Nice little digital form. You can take it wherever you want. Save it for a rainy day. All that good stuff. Give us a follow over there on X. Week 7 waiver wire ads. Let's get right to it, guys. I'm going to snap it right to my quarterbacks. Favorite quarterback ad of the week. I got to go with Drake May. He's heading over to, he looked good, right? He looked good in this first matchup. 3 TDs, 3 turnovers first start, 21 fantasy points, depending on, bonuses and stuff like that in your leagues. 33 attempts, 20 completions, 243 yards. I think he brought some life to him, guys. And he's traveling across the pond, taking on the Jaguars that Caleb Williams just completely lit up. But Drake May got the whole offense involved. I really liked what I saw out of him. I think this is a good matchup for Drake May. Going over to Jacksonville. It's not Jacksonville. Going over to London to play Jacksonville. It's kind of their home away from home. I think he can play Drake, man. This is a really good matchup. Their coach is on the hot seat. Looks like the Jaguars are, it looks like Pearson's losing that locker room. We could probably do a really long pod on all the things wrong in Jacksonville and the Dallas Cowboys, but I'm going to spare you guys that. I'm just trying to stick this, just to waivers. Next on my list, he's been here for a while, and he'll probably always be here for a while, but he's a great floor play. There's only 2 teams on bye this week, guys. We got the Dallas Cowboys and the Chicago Bears. So you shouldn't be needing to stream, guys, but if you want to just play some matchups and look at some stuff that's a little bit better, you can do that as well. Andy Dalton, 16% roster on Sleeper, had 16 fantasy points today versus the Falcons. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 38-20 loss to the Falcons. You're always going to get a solid effort out of Andy Dalton. Who doesn't like the red rifle? We all like the red rifle. Commanders, this should be a shootout for the Commanders and the Panthers. I think you can fire Andy Dalton up this week. There's a lot of guys that could do a lot worse than Andy Dalton. This is an ugly one, and you probably aren't going to like it. I got another rookie. I got Bo Nix, 21% rostered. He finally threw 2 touchdown passes today. That's back-to-back games with 2 touchdown passes. Traveling to New Orleans to take on the Saints. He's 21% rostered. He had 6 rushing attempts for 61 yards. There's a lot worse than you can do with Bo Nix out there. Week 8 has no buys, but Week 8, Bo Nix is playing the Carolina Panthers, and that could be a really juicy matchup for a quarterback that relies on their legs. And then just a quick, Week 6 all duds team. These are the guys that just absolutely lost your fantasy matchup. I got Dak Prescott with 2.2 fantasy points, Saquon Barkley with 6.4 fantasy points, James Conner 4.6 fantasy points, Mike Evans 4.4 fantasy points, Marvin Harrison Jr. 0 fantasy points. I know what you guys are going to say. Hey, don't put hurt guys in this list. It shows bad taste. I'm sorry. I lost my fantasy matchup because my second round draft pick got hurt, or first round, third round draft pick. It don't matter. Just because they got hurt doesn't mean people didn't put them in their lineups. That's all I'm saying. Jake Ferguson, 2.6. Absolutely brutal. Tight ends are kind of back this week. They all played good. Mark Andrews, Sam Laporta, Evan Ingram. I said Mark Andrews already. Felt like I should say it again, though. He's been so bad. Jake Ferguson and Tucker Kraft were not back. So for the most part, tight ends looked really good. Cole Kmet, you got Cole Kmet out there. Maybe you're in a fantasy league that gives you points for long snappers. I don't know. Cole Kmet did that on Sunday. Chris Olave, -1 fantasy point. Absolutely brutal. If you had any of those guys on your team, it was probably a hard to overcome. Let's hand it off to our running backs, guys. Running backs, not a great matchup playing the Detroit Lions, but I got Ty Chandler, 35% rostered. Next, I have Isaac Garindo, I believe is how you say it. Sorry if I totally butchered that. 5% rostered, 49ers running back. 49 running backs being injured. I know, shouldn't be news to anyone. We don't know the status of Jordan Mason at the time. Day-to-day with an AC joint, he should be good. But if you have Jordan Mason, pick up Isaac, man. You need him. handcuff your good running backs, guys. Handcuff someone else's good running backs. Next, I have Tyron Tracy. He's looked good. 17 rushes for 50 yards and a touchdown. Brought in all 6 of his targets for 57 rushing yards. A lot of injuries, like I've been saying. We don't know when Devin Singletary's coming back, but I think Tyrone Tracy's looked good in the opportunities he's had. 15 fantasy points versus the Seahawks, 19 versus the Bengals. Next, this one hurts. Dearness Johnson. What happened to Tank Bigsby? He fumbled the ball. I understand that he fumbled the ball. Why do you have your running back on kick return? Your best running backs returning kicks? I don't care if these things are dynamic. They really aren't that dynamic. Just put a warm body out there. Dearness Johnson actually looked decent, but come on. Tank absolutely murdered. Tank has been on a complete bender, and you bench him after that fumble. He had 7 rushes for 24 yards. We do have another injury, like kind of the moral of the whole running backs. We got an injury, so Dearness Johnson maybe is someone that you can play if Etienne's out. So Dearness Johnson, 0% rostered. Monitor this situation with what's going on with the Jaguars. Tank, I think it should be Tank. It sounds like Etienne's out. Sean Tucker, another one. What do we know what's going on with Rachaad White? Sean Tucker outplayed Bucky Irving. Like, let's not kid ourselves. 14 attempts, 136 rushing yards, 1 TD, 3 targets, 3 catches, 56 yards, and he also caught a TD. 0% rostered. This rookie looked really good. He, like I said, outplayed Bucky Irving. Not sure if we can pick him up unless we know for sure Rachaad White's not playing. Definitely needs to be rostered, though, this week at the very least. They are playing the Baltimore Ravens. Coming off the bye week, Jalen Wright. Haven't heard about what's going on with Achane at the moment. Jalen Wright he had 8 fantasy points last week. They're playing the Colts. This is a good matchup. He is 21% rostered. And for my running backs, just going back over there is Ty Chandler, Tyrone Tracy, Isaac Garando, Dearness Johnson, Sean Tucker, and Jalen Wright. I have some handcuffs. James Conner's on the all-dead list. James Conner has gone 6 weeks without being injured. Don't want to be a jerk, like I said about injuries. He kind of has a history of getting hurt. Trey Benson should be on a roster. Kamani Vidal, he had a really nice wheel route versus the Broncos for the Chargers today. Nice TD catch. Kamani Vidal, like J.K. Dobbins, another guy with injury history. Let's make sure that, we're safe. And then Emmanuel Wilson, if Josh Jacobs gets hurt, you got that other running back there. Let's throw it over to our wide receivers. Number 1 on my wide receiver list right now, Juju Smith-Schuster looked really good on Monday Night Football in Week 5. He led the Kansas City Chiefs in receiving yards, 130 yards, and a 26-13 win over New Orleans. Everyone wants to just talk about that nice interception that guy had, that lineman over there from New Orleans. Juju played a great game. He had 8 targets, 7 catches, 130 yards, no touchdown. Looks like he could be the number 1 wide receiver. Maybe Kelsey's number 1 pass catcher. Hasn't looked like that so far this season. Xavier Worthy just seems like a gadget guy at the moment. I think you can still play Worthy. I think Juju's the guy that's going to get the targets there in Kansas City. Then I have Romeo Doubs. Doubs caught 3 or 4 targets, 49 yards, and he caught 2 touchdowns. I don't try to figure out these Green Bay Packers wide receivers. Just plug them into your lineup. Outside of Jane Reed, just plug them into your lineup and look away. Romeo Doubs looked good. I know Dontavian Wicks, my start of the week, got injured. He did have some targets and stuff like that. Doubs, he's been gone a little bit. He missed a game for discipline issues or whatever. Had 2 TD catches a day. 51% rostered Romeo Doubs. Gabe Davis, this guy almost had 3 touchdowns in London. He had 2. He had 8 targets for 5. He caught 5 of them for 45 yards, 19 fantasy points. Pair of TD grabs in the game. Maybe one of the few bright spots for the Jaguars. Brian Thomas Jr. did not look good. Dropped a lot of passes. Christian Kirk was whatever. Gabe Davis seemed like the hot hand at that game. 27% rostered. We all know, if you've had Gabe Davis in fantasy football, you kind of know how it is. You're either eating a lot or you're going hungry. That's the best way I can say that. Xavier Legette. 4 targets, 3 catches, 23 yards, and a TD. Awesome touchdown celebration. It was really good. It wasn't that weird Spider-Man thing that Will Levis did. Like, that needs to go away. Like, I like Spider-Man. Xavier Legette seems like a fun guy. He's got a lot of energy. He's found the end zone in 2 of his past 3 contests. I think he's working his way into a weekly flex option, depending on the matchup. Playing the Washington Commanders, I think Xavier Legette's a good play. This one, I'm still waiting for this guy to kind of come back a little bit. He had 2 double-digit games. Then he has kind of been down a little bit. He's gotten a little bit banged up. Quentin Johnson, 36% rostered. Caught 3 or 4 targets versus the Broncos. He's had some tough matchups lately. The Broncos today, Chiefs the week before. Week 3, he had the Pittsburgh Steelers. He did catch a touchdown versus the Steelers. Playing Arizona, going out, east to the desert. So maybe a good matchup, a good get-right spot for Quentin Johnson. Like I said, there's only 2 teams on buys, but there should be a buy in here. There should be a couple guys in here that can fill in for CeeDee Lamb or DJ Moore. Then Michael Wilson. If Marvin Harrison Jr. is out, you can play Michael Wilson. You can play Greg Dortch. Wilson has caught 2 TD passes on the season. He had a nice TD catch on Sunday versus the Green Bay Packers. Rashad Bateman, 17% rostered. He had 9 fantasy points versus Washington. He's just been pretty solid. He's kind of been scratching around double digits every single week. Hard to guess who's going to be catching passes for the Ravens every week. Christian Watson, 42% rostered, 4 targets, 3 receptions, 68 yards, 1 TD. Basically the same stats that Dobbs had. And then give this guy some time, man. We got Jalen Polk. He was the number 1 wide receiver he's listed as the number 1 wide receiver for the New England Patriots. If you look at the stat line, he had 4 targets and 1 catch for 4 yards. So he did absolutely nothing. If you played him, he was Jordan's sleep of the week. I think Jalen Polk with Drake May there should start turning some head, guys. Don't give up on Jalen Polk. Noah Brown, number 2 wide receiver for the Washington Commanders. We saw what he did last year with the Texans. He had 7 fantasy points versus Baltimore. Maybe this is a game they get him right versus the Carolina Panthers this week. Last wide receiver on the list, I have Troy Franklin. Hey, this is just deep stuff here. And these last couple guys have been more maybe like stashes or guys keep on your radar. He was teammates with Bo Nix, and he caught a touchdown for today versus the Chargers. So I thought it was worth putting Troy Franklin on there. Sorry, not sorry. Tight ends. Hunter Henry, 25% rostered, had a nice game today with Drake May. A lot of Patriots on this list. Hoping with Drake May, maybe he can, maybe high tides raise all ships. Zach Ertz, 36% rostered, playing the Carolina Panthers, like I said. And then this is just if Dallas Goedert is hurt with the hamstring. Grant Calcaterra, and again, had a good game, but you only play him if Dallas Goedert is missing time. Guys, let me know what you think of these waiver wire ads. Do you want me to keep doing the All Duds team? Do you want me to do more stuff where I'm like talking about, Will Levis's Spider-Man dance, how Tate Bigsby just absolutely got kicked out of the whole everything, how Jerry Jones on his birthday, his team can't even show up to play. I don't know. Maybe they were out late hitting a piñata or something last night. I'm not sure. Dallas looked really bad. Good time for their bye week. I'm hoping Mike McCarthy's on my all dead list next week. Maybe he's out of Dallas. I don't know. Nick Sirianni's haircut. This is all stuff. I cover a lot of this on X. Let me know what you guys think, though, as always. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Really helps us out. We will see you on Thursday with our Week 7 preview show. Then on Friday on YouTube, Jordan and Seth have their underdog plays that they do every single week. So, guys, remember, don't be rude. Share the dudes. It really helps us out. We'll see you next time. And as always, take care.
This has been another episode of the Fantasy Football Dudes podcast. Remember to rate, review, and follow. For more information, go to www.thefantasyfootballdudes.com. And remember, we are sorry for absolutely nothing.